Previously on Advent of Cyber. The holiday season is close again. Big, dark, half-frosted card was just laying on her desk. Security staff! All hands on deck! We've got an incident! Best Festival Company's officers saw a team of security specialists running to the SOC room.
Oh, someone's been naughty this year. We need to investigate.
Check the logs! Review the monitoring! Audit other systems! Lock down the network! We've been through something like this last year. This year, we're saving Christmas again. To be continued. Hello world and welcome to Hacks. Today we are continuing on the journey of the Advent of Cyber 2022 on TryHackMe. In the last episode we were able to save the day by piecing together the various different frameworks into the complete jigsaw puzzle to discover that the advanced persistent threat was the Bandit Yeti group. Well, unfortunately, he has struck again. Santa's Security Operations Center has noticed that one of their web servers, santasgift.shop, has been hijacked by the Bandit Yeti Advanced Persistent Threat Group. Alf McBlue's task is to analyze the log files captured from the web server to understand what is happening and track down the Bandit Yeti APT group. This is Day 2, Log Analysis, Santa's Naughty and Nice Log. The learning objectives of this room are to learn what log files are and why they're useful, understand the valuable information log files can contain, understand some common locations these log files can be found, use some basic Linux commands to start analysing log files and valuable information, help Alf McBlue track down the Bandit Yeti APT. What are log files and why are they useful? Log files, they contain historical records of events or data from applications. Some common examples in log files you may find: login attempts, traffic on the network, things like websites, URLs, files that have been accessed, password changes, application errors, and many more. Brief historical record of events that happened. Log files are extremely important pieces of evidence when investigating what has happened, when has happened, where it has happened, who did it, were they successful, what is the result of their actions. Then the author of the room goes on to discuss what log files actually look like. It tells you about timestamps, the name of the service, and the actual event triggering the log. And then it talks about common log file locations, and it specifies that Windows has the event viewer, which is really good for looking at logs. It allows you to filter log and use search requests, and it does do a good job of separating them into various categories like application, security, setup, and system. And then it talks about Linux logs and that they can be found usually in var log unless otherwise specified in the application's configuration file. So for example, if you had a web server, you could go into the configuration file of Apache or Nginx and configure a different location for a log file. This could be particularly useful if you don't have a lot of space on the var partition and you want to save it to a different partition on the system. The author then goes on to discuss the different categories of Linux logs, talking about authentication. So when you SSH to a system, it generates an authentication log. Talks about the package manager, saying that when you do package management things, it logs to a log. Then you've got the syslog file, which contains all the events generated by the systems, the things that can help you debug the system. And then kernel log file, which relates to all events relating to the kernel. Next, the author talks about looking through log files and how there are many different systems like Splunk and security information event management systems or scene systems dedicated to aggregating logs for analysis. You can see below you've got the advantages and disadvantages of the various SIEM systems. But why use things like Splunk and SIEM systems when you can use Grep, Global Regular Expression Print? It's a tool on Linux which is really useful for looking into files and finding out bits of information. It allows you to specify keywords or multiple keywords or even keywords that you don't want to find in order to look through vast log files containing thousands of logs to try and pinpoint exactly what it is you're looking for. It's particularly useful in situations where you're trying to track a certain IP address's actions or trying to identify certain files that are being hit. So for instance, if you work in a SOC or a network operations center and you're noticing that a web server has a heavy amount of traffic, you could do a grep and then sort by unique or sort by the count the amount of times that it appears in the log, so you could find a particular domain or a particular file that's getting hit regularly by a threat actor that's causing a service disruption. And then from there you can see what IP addresses it's coming from, and if it's coming from multiple IP addresses, then you could probably hide the file or disable the file, or if it's coming from a singular IP address, you could just ban the IP address. As you can see there, they've given some examples: a name of a computer, a name of a file, a name of a user account, an IP address, a certain timestamp or date, and then it goes into various descriptions of what commands do. So I performs a case sensitive search for the word hello world, so if you're looking for something case sensitive, that could be beneficial. So if it's a particular file and you want to find all instances of the file and it needs to be case sensitive, then you can use that. Using E searches using regex or regular expressions. For example, we can search for lines that contain either THM or TryHackMe, and -R searches recursively. So if you're in a directory with lots of files or lots of log files, you can do a -R to search through every log file for a specific keyword in the current directory that you're in. And of course it says that you can find more information about the grep command using the man pages. So if you're on your Linux terminal, just type man followed by the program that you want to know more about. In this case it's grep, and that will bring up the manual for grep. And without further ado, let's get on with the practical, which is why I'm sure you're all here. So the first thing we need to do is scroll up to the top of the page and start the machine. Okay, the practical machine is now booted, so let's go back and see what challenges we have to do. So ensure you are connected to the deployable machine in this task. Complete. Use the ls command to list the files present in the current directory. How many log files are present? Simple as. Let's just go with ls, and you can see we have two log files, sshd.log and webserver.log. So we can go back over here and just type 2. Alf McSkiddy managed to capture the logs generated by the server. What is the name of this log file? So it's pretty obvious, there's only two files. We've got sshd.log and webserver.log. So I'm just going to go in here and put in webserver.log. Begin investigating the log file from question 3 to answer the following questions. Okay, just click complete on that. On what day was Santa's naughty list stolen? So we know we need to check the web server log for information about Santa's naughty list. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a word count -l on webserver.log, and you can see there's over 189,000 lines in this log file. So it's going to make it a bit of hard work trying to go through and find out how many or where Santa's log file is. So the first thing we can do is we can tail the webserver.log, and this will give us the last 10 lines of the log, and it will give us an idea of how the log is structured. So you can see there you have the IP address that made the request, you have the date, which will come in useful when we need to get the day that the log file was stolen. Then we see the type of action that was performed, a get request. If you know about HTTP methods, you can have get, post, put, delete, all types of things. And then it's showing the different files or the different directories that were accessed, the method for which they were accessed with, so HTTP 1.1. Then you have the response that the server sent. In this case it was a 404, so it looks like somebody's been using GoBuster, which, yeah, I assume that's supposed to be the user agent there. So the user agent identifies the browser, but we now know what we're looking for, so we can do things like grep list on webserver.log, but unfortunately a lot of results come back with list in it. But if we look a bit further, we can see a lot of 404s. Maybe that can help us a bit later on. But let's grep for potentially nice in webserver.log. Now this reduces our list significantly, but it doesn't look like any of these were successful requests. So they're all 404ing, none of them are 200, so none of those appear to be the list that was stolen. What we can do though is we can search for things that we don't want to appear in our results. So we can do grep-v 404 web server tab to complete.log, and you'll see there the list is a bit more refined, and we can see we've got some 301s, we've got a 200 for the root page, we've got assets, and it's starting to refine it a little bit more. And would you know it, Santa's list is right there. Somebody used wget from a Linux terminal to get the Santa's list file on the 18th of November 2022, and if we look at the calendar for November, we should be able to see what day it is. So I'm just going to do cal November 2022, and you can see that the 18th of November was a Friday. So if we head back over, we pop Friday into the answer and we click correct answer. I've already completed it, but there you go. You can see that that was the correct date. Now, the next question asks us, what is the IP address of the attacker? Okay, it's fairly easy, it's right there. Santa's list 10.10.249.191, but we're not learning anything by doing that, so let's make our life a little bit more difficult and just get the IP address from the log. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do grep, and then we're going to look for Santa's list.txt, then we're going to pipe, and then we're going to, no, we need to specify the web server.log, and then we're going to pipe, and then we're going to do awk, and then we're going to do a single bracket, and we're going to do print, because we only want to print the first column. We're going to close the bracket, and then we're going to do that. So we are grepping for Santa's list in web server.log, and then we're going to do awk print 1. Hopefully I haven't messed this up, but then it should give us the IP address. Granted, this doesn't give us a lot of visibility on it, but I wanted to add value to this command rather than just saying, oh, there's the IP address. So we're now awking for a singular column. We can grab the IP address 10.10.249.191. so let's try that, 10.10.191, and if we click submit, it should give us the correct answer. I put the wrong digit in, 249.191. Okay, and the next question is asking us, what is the name of the important list that the attacker stole from Santa? Well, we know that is Santa's list.txt, so yeah, not really much more I can do there. Santa's list.txt, and then we're going to click submit, and it's going to go whoop whoop. The answer is correct. And finally, it's asking us to look through the log files for the flag. The format of the flag is THM open and close brackets. So we can use grep for this, but grep isn't going to work with using both brackets because there is string in between those two open and close brackets. What we can do though is we can search both logs at the same time, or not at the same time, but sequentially, for THM open bracket. Let's just try it anyway. So if we did grep -r, and then we put THM open close bracket, whoops, open close bracket, and then we did, I don't even know what directory I'm in actually. Let's get rid of that. Let's do a pwd. Okay, so we're in home and alfmcblue. So then we're going to grep -r, and then we're going to put the string of THM open and close bracket, and then we're going to do home alfmcblue. Ooh, we got more else, and we found nothing. If we then come back up and we take the second one off, it finds it immediately in the sshd.log in alfmcblue, and it's THM stolen Santa's list. So all we need to do is come back over here and do THM open bracket stolen Santa's list, and click submit, and hopefully I haven't brought that up, and then we're gonna click completed, and it does suggest we do the Windows event logs and the endpoint security monitoring module. But that is it. You are done with the Advent of Cyber Day 2 log analysis. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. It's been a nice break from what I've been doing before, and it's getting me in the Christmas spirit. But anyway, I hope you liked it. Please subscribe, please leave a comment. I'll see you next time. Kind regards.
Ho, 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 ho.